Hey everybody, Davenport here, 11:41 a.m. on the northwest smoky clock. We've got fires raging everywhere, out of control. Smoke and ash are killing us, literally. It's September the 10th, 2020, a day I will never ever forget. We were driving to the store today and happened to see a homeless man sitting on a corner with all of his gear that he had, and he had no shoes. And I gave him a couple of bucks on my way out of the store, and I asked him what his problem was, how he got where he is, and he told me. And he said, my biggest problem right now is people don't want to help me because I don't have shoes, and I can't walk anywhere because my feet are so scabby. So, what do? We go get him some hiking shoes. And I'll tell you, it really felt good to see this man cry and to see this man receive what Marion put in a bag for him to fill him up for a while. And I don't even remember his name. Jeffrey, I think was his name. Jason, I'm not sure. But the point is, he's got some beautiful shoes. And that really made a difference more than the money I gave him that we really didn't have to put out. But we're going to be watching a video today by Alan Watts, Money, Time, and Ego, the illusion of money, time, and ego. And it's a very good video for all of you to take to heart because we really spend too much time worrying about money, time, and we really do need to get in control of our egos. So let's go ahead and watch this video, and then I'll get back and do a little discussion with you. Here we go. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what's going on here. We're having some audio difficulties. Let us get this straightened out, and there we go. Then we'll take off again. I don't like these little glitches at all. So here we go.
Well, I have a sort of suggestion, and that is this, that before we decide either to save the planet or to destroy it, we pause for a moment of silence. I don't mean that kind of grim silence which one observes when somebody says, such and such a famous person has just died, and we'll observe a moment of silence in his honor. And everybody frowns and thinks very serious thoughts. That's not silence at all. I mean real silence, in which we stop thinking and experience reality as reality is. Because after all, if I talk all the time, I can't hear what anyone else has to say. And if I think all the time, and by that I mean specifically talking to yourself subvocally inside your skull, if I think all the time, I have nothing to think about except thoughts. And so I'm never in touch with the real world. Now, what is the real world? Some people have the theory that the real world is material or physical. I say it's made of kind of a stuff. Other people have the theory that the real world is spiritual or mental. But I want you to point out that both those theories of the world are concepts. They are constructions of words. And the real world is not an idea. It is not words. Reality is You will find, therefore, that if you get with reality, all sorts of illusions disappear. And I will mention several illusions that have not this kind of existence. Let's begin with some very down-to-earth ones, like money. Money is a very useful method of accounting. It is a measure of wealth in the same way as inches are measures of length and grams measures of weight. You cannot eat money. You could have a fantastic quantity of dollar bills and stock certificates on a desert island, and they would be useless to you. What you would need would be food and animals and companions. Money simply represents wealth in rather the same way that the menu represents the dinner. Only we are psychologically perverted in such a way that some of us would rather have money than real wealth. But you know, you cannot drive in 5 cars at once, even though they be Cadillacs. You cannot live simultaneously in 6 houses or eat 12 roasts of beef at one meal. There is a limit to what one can consume. So that's one of the sort of confusions I'm talking about. Another is that we confuse ourselves as living organisms with our idea of ourselves. That is to say, with the conception of myself, which is called the personality or ego. That is what we have been told we are. And it's an extremely crude and limited conception of oneself, of the actual unique living organism. And we get unhappy because we're thinking of ourselves in this way, because we think, well, gee, I'm going to die. I once talked to a woman who came to me and said she was afraid of death. And we went into it in a long conversation. I said, what are you really afraid of? And she thought it over, and he said, do you know, what I'm going to be afraid of is what other people are going to say. They're going to say, poor old Gert, she couldn't last it through. Because you see, who you think you are is entirely dependent on who people have told you you are. You're not that. Then another thing that bothers us is time. Most people nowadays say, I have no time. Of course you don't. because you are not aware of the present. You know, the present is represented on your watch by a hairline that is as thin as possible as is consistent with visibility. And so everybody thinks the present is instead of now. The present is the only real time. There is no past, and there isn't a future. And there never will be. We think ordinarily of the present as an infinitesimal point at which the future changes into the past. And we also do a terrible thing. We imagine ourselves to be results of the past. And we're always passing the buck over our shoulders, like when God approached Adam in the Garden of Eden and said, "Hast thou eaten of the fruit of the tree whereof I told thee thou shouldst not eat?" And Adam said, "This woman thou gavest me, she tempted me, and I did eat." And God looked at Eve and said, "Hast thou eaten of the fruit of the tree whereof I told thee thou shouldst not eat?" And she said, "The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat." And God, out of the corner of his eye, looked at the serpent. The serpent said nothing. So you see, we're always passing the buck. And don't realize that the past is caused by the present, as the wake of a ship flows back from the prow. Now, the wake doesn't drive the ship any more than the tail wags the dog. But we've all got excuses. My mother had a fit while she was carrying me in the womb. They didn't bring me up right. And then they go to the mother and say, "How is it that you could have been so irresponsible with your children?" And she says, "Well, it was my parents didn't bring me up right either." And so everybody passes the buck. But the truth of the matter is, it all begins here. This is where the creation begins. And you're doing it and won't admit it. Because, of course, you're all God in disguise. Jesus found that out, and they crucified him for saying so. So this is a very odd thing for Westerners to understand, and particularly for Americans, because we are so fixated on the future. When we say we want to put something down, we say it has no future. Well, do you? Much better to have a present. Because if you don't, it's useless to make plans, because when they work out, you won't be there to enjoy them. You'll be thinking of something else. So we realize that we are living out of now and throwing the past behind us.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a beautiful, beautiful video, and I'm very, very thankful that you all got to hear it. I mean, Alan Watts is a brilliant, brilliant soul that I am going to start posting over and over and over again, along with Clarence McKenna, um, two brilliant philosophers, academians, very educated, very well bred, very highly experienced in the art of psychedelics and the art of mind over matter, and of course, talking about these very important things that seem to control us: money, time, and ego. Something we all need to think about. Something we all need to think about very, very much and very often, especially those who are in the money pit and they let money control their every action, their every move, their every thought. This is a bad thing. This is how we get ourselves into the trouble that we're into today around the world. And I won't go into that in detail in this video. Um, Time is the great mystery, the great illusion that most of you don't understand, that we live in the present moment only. The present moment is encompasses all that is and all that ever will be. There is no past, there is no future, there is only the present moment, which creates the illusion of past and future. But once one gets in control of the present, one tends to expand the imagination and excite the consciousness and be able to see the landscape much differently, externally and internally. The brain is a magnificent organ, and the brain is very complex. We know very little about the human brain today. Even our most learned academians and neuroscientists. But we are learning and we are doing things with the brain that are very good. And we are doing things with the brain that are very nefarious and very diabolical, which is, I would say, a normal state of affairs for humanity and for the way people are and the way people think and the way people experience reality. But I'm glad you all got to hear Alan Watts talking about that. I hope that you listen to many, many, many of Alan Watts's audios. You will learn a lot. It will help you in many, many ways. I'm going to add this to chat, our Blog Talk radio show, um, that you can come and visit us, come and join us on the air, and we would be very much appreciative of that. I want to thank AXJ Radio for all of their assistance and all of their help and all of their encouragement and all of their mentoring with me and the station. They are around the world, they are everywhere, and they are one of the greatest news sources that I have ever seen in my 63 years of living. Um, I want to really, really thank AXJ for being a part of our life, AXJ TV, AXJ Radio. I want to thank all of them. And I hope that we can partner up and we can draw a lot of people in from Eduardo's groups around the world to the radio station. And today I'm going to make it a point to hit Facebook Russia and Facebook Eastern Europe. And today I'm going to make it a day of maintenance with AXJ and working on sharing the many, many, many pages. AXJ has access to over 5,000 websites around the world. They host websites. They're wonderful private investigators, wonderful journalists and reporters and investigators. And the number to the show is 646 716 8423. I will put that in the comment section now. The number to the show is 646 716 8423. There you go. And I really, really need more live listeners. We have so many people listening in post. We have like 198,000 people that have come through the doors of APRI over time. And we just don't get that many live listeners, and that's what I really, really want. That's what I really, really need, and I need some new roundtable participants. We've got a lot of great guests coming out of AXJ Radio that I'm very thankful for, and I'm just overwhelmed by AXJ and what they're doing around the world. I'm literally overwhelmed with it. I'm ecstatic. I'm elated at what they are doing, and I'm so proud of them. And I'm so proud to call Eduardo my mentor and my partner. So I'll leave it at that. And you all are wonderful, and we will be back with another video soon. And I want you all to take care, and may the force be with you all. And remember, whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will come to pass in the present moment. Bye bye.